Thank you for listening to EMCEE, the podcast that talks to people who talk for a living. I'm your host, Alwaleed Osman, and today, my guest is someone that I have looked up to throughout my career as an MC. She has over 17 years of hosting live events. That's almost 2 decades. She's done workshops, team building sessions, celebrity interviews, product launches, conventions, and galas. She has worked with some of the biggest clients in Dubai like GTEx, Henkel, Porsche, Nissan, Etisalat, A'mar, Dubai Holding, Unilever, Huawei, FIFA, Mobile, Dubai Airports, Acer and Carolina Herrera, and many others. She is also the first mistress of ceremonies to be on the show, so we're kind of making history here. May Ali, good morning and welcome to the show.
Sabah al khair, good morning, Alwaleed. First of all, thank you so much for the great introduction. I felt very important and I love it, so thanks for that.
You are very welcome. I like to start the day with gratitude. I feel like it makes the day better. So today I'm grateful for, again, having access to a studio like this, for the ability to create useful content for our listeners. I'm also grateful for you giving up an hour of your valuable time to come to the show. And I'm grateful for our videographer, Marah, for joining us on such a short notice. So thank you for coming. May, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for, first of all, this opportunity is absolutely amazing. I've never heard of a podcast or an interviewer who talks about MCs. Usually always the MCs are interviewing everybody else, right? So I'm very grateful for this opportunity because I would love to share my expertise. I'm grateful for our health. I'm grateful for my children. I'm grateful for being able to meet you today, and Corona is not like still allowing us to meet each other. عرفت كيف؟ يعني مش it didn't stop this podcast. So I'm very grateful for that too.
That's amazing. I'm also grateful that, I remember lockdown, and honestly, and I'm grateful just to be able to drive my car these days.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy about that. So let's talk about you. Where are you from? How long have you been in Dubai? Tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I am from Lebanon. Born in Canada, so you know how Lebanese are. So whenever we're born somewhere or we get any other passport, we call ourselves Lebanese Canadian or Lebanese American. This is the style that so when I tell you I'm Lebanese Canadian, it just gives me this heke, you know.
Yeah, you're both.
No, I'm actually I'm a Lebanese, but I was literally born in Canada, and that's it. So I hold the Canadian passport. So I take it as a privilege, and I say I'm Lebanese Canadian.
But did you grow up there? Did you grow up?
No, literally just born there.
Where did you grow up?
In Lebanon and Dubai.
How long have you been in Dubai for?
Almost as long as I was emceeing. So it's been almost 18 years now.
When did you, or how did you end up in Dubai from Lebanon?
Okay, so, oh my gosh, that's a very interesting story. Okay, so basically my father was living here. He was a trader. And we were like, is it called trader? Tajir?
Yeah.
It's trader, right? Yeah, exactly.
Now they have fancy terms like entrepreneur. But
okay, so he was an entrepreneur.
Essentially trading, yeah.
No, he was a trader.
Okay.
Yeah, he owned his own business. And after a while, he got like bankrupt. And we are 6 children, like five girls and 1 boy. I'm the third. And like ranking the numbers, I'm the third child.
Okay.
Yeah, my sister, my brother, then me. So I decided I'm gonna be the hero of the family, and I'm like, you know what? I'm coming to Dubai, and I'm gonna be supporting my family. I was 17 years old, and people were like, okay, she's a child. There's no way she can come to Dubai. I didn't even finish my education back then. I finished only grade 11. So I came because I had the Canadian passport. Oh, by the way, Alwaleed, I'm the only one who has the Canadian passport in the family.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Baba knew that I'm the best daughter, so this is the reason.
Oh, did he fly specifically there?
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
No, he didn't. It's just something that he was like, his instinct told him that this baby, and by the way, back then they don't know if it's a girl or a boy, so thank God he didn't know I was a girl. I went, he took me to Canada. He took my mom to Canada, basically like, okay, we're going to give this child a Canadian passport. So I came without a visit visa because knowing, European, Canadians, Americans, they can come here without visit visa. And my dad thought I'm going to come here for a visit and leave. He's like, you're coming here, you will see me for a while, we'll have a vacation together, and you'll go back to Lebanon to live with your family. But I was like, no. I'm staying here. And this was my plan. So I decided to stay. My first job was a Red Bull girl. Do you remember?
Wow.
You remember the Red Bull girls?
Yeah, you had these Mini Coopers.
The Mini Coopers with
the Red Bull on them. Oh, yeah.
So I
no
felt,
way.
Yeah, Alwaleed, I felt like I was the coolest person in the world, you know?
It is a cool job.
It was a very cool job. And back then, okay, so we're talking about here 18 years, yeah? Imagine 17 years old and my salary was 4,500 dirhams. That was big.
That was a big amount of money at that time.
That was big, exactly. Yeah. So, and all that money was going back to Lebanon, but I was still feeling good, like I'm making this money. So, I think there's...
Oh, the gimbal stopped recording. it's fallen. So, you were 17, working for Red Bull and sending all your money back home. How did you get that sense of responsibility at such a young age?
I don't know, Alwaleed. It was basically, it's always been me. So I was even 16 years old working in a toys shop after my school. Even when I was 13, I used to teach children who were KG1 and KG2. So it's something that I've always had, that I enjoyed working. At the same time, whenever I used to feel like my mom is not well, or if she had to go through a lot of financial problems, I would feel so bad and I would feel guilty about it. This is called like the Middle Eastern guilt. It was mainly me, like only me and the family feeling that way back then, because they were children. My brother was so busy with his life as also a young, teenager, and my sister was married back then. So, and also on top of that, I was so attached to my dad. My memories, my childhood memories with my dad were so beautiful. And he was very loving, and I missed him so much. So I wanted to, saying that, I'm going to come here, I'm going to help my dad, and I want to live with him. So, it's a combination of love, guilt feeling, and also the confidence that I can do something. You know, when you're a child, or when you are young, you feel that you can do anything.
Yeah.
You dream big, and you don't have this sabotage that I can't do it, and you don't start putting all these layers and blockages that it's not possible. That's why I never understood why the older people, or even my friends, like, May, you're 17, you want to support your family? Are you crazy? Just go back home, Even my dad, he was like, May, you're going to come here for a vacation and leave. And it was not even an option for my dad. But it's something I decided. I would imagine, I took some pictures of my family, of my friends. I took all these kind of small memories because I decided I'm not going back to Lebanon. This is a very emotional moment for me. It's always something that when I talk about it, I feel... very emotional, yeah.
And especially that you knew that I wouldn't come back, so I need to take all the pictures with me and make there was no Facebook at that time.
No Facebook, no Insta. I didn't even know how to... I didn't even have an email back then.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you started working for Red Bull, is that how you got into events, or how did you start emceeing? At what point that happened?
Okay, well, Red Bull was a great opportunity because I went around the 7 Emirates. So imagine in 6 months, I saw the 7 Emirates. People live here all their life and they don't see. I even went to Khorfakan,
Yeah.
There was a Syrian show. What is it called? اسمه Jamila and Marah, اسمه Jamila and Hana?
Yeah, Jamila and Hana, yeah.
So there's an old lady there. She was saying, my son is in Khorfakan. Ibni bi Khorfakan. You remember this?
Yeah, because it's like in the end of nowhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I never thought that Khorfakan actually exists in real life. We even went to Khorfakan with Red Bull.
Did you drive the car?
No, I was 17 back then.
Yeah.
So I got my license when I was 19. So I used to be next to the driver.
Okay.
Yeah. So after Red Bull, after 6 months, it was not an easy job because you have to hold 24 cans on your back, go around.
It's heavy. There's a backpack. It's like an ice box you need to carry.
Exactly. I mean, they never told us to do that, but I was super excited always, and I wanted to go back and talk to people and have. It was the energy in me. They used to tell me, don't hold this much bags. But I was like, no, I want to fill it in. I want to work. And people used to make fun of me because I was so skinny, like very skinnier than this, like half. Like I'm now 57. I was 48, so 10 kilos less. Okay, so I would go to them and go like, okay, so Red Bull gives you energy. So imagine half the size of the hand
of the bicep, and they're like, clearly, yes.
And people used to make fun of me.
Yeah.
So back then, I used to enjoy the whole presenting of Red Bull. After 6 months, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm done. I want to be in an office job. My dream is to be behind a desk. And this is when I became a receptionist at Dubai Media City. And of course, it was such a scary job for me, like scary job. I swear, I still remember that they have to give me a paper to read from saying like, good morning, my name is May, welcome to Dubai Media City, how can I help you? This was written and I practiced it for 2 weeks to be able to do it without looking at the paper. Okay, they created my email. I didn't even know how to write an email. So I would be shivering just to like type on the computer. And of course with 2 fingers, you know, like, yeah. Yeah. So this was like my first official job, super scary. And I used to live in Sharjah. And I don't know if you remember the Sharjah traffic if you're younger than me, but I would have to drive or go by bus or my dad to drop me to work. It would take 2 hours to reach my office and 2 hours or 2 hours and I have to go back. I'm talking to you, I think this is in 2003 or 4, I can't remember now. Yeah, back then. And back then, I didn't know that podcasts exist or reading or whatever.
I think podcasts did not exist.
It didn't exist, right?
Yeah, podcasts are fairly new.
Even all these things that were. So it wasn't an easy journey back then. But then I moved to Dubai. But then, while I was being a receptionist, one of the clients in the business center, you know, like these entrepreneurs that are just starting startup companies and stuff, I think he was stuck. Maybe an MC canceled on him or something. And he was like, Maid, would you like to present an event? And I'm like, okay, what is it? He's like, well, it's a small mall, couple of, like several mothers and their children, and you just have to entertain them. And I will pay you 3,000 dirhams for this 1 hour. So imagine I'm working for a month every day, commuting for 4 hours, spending 8 to 10 hours in my job. And I was getting paid 4,070 dirhams. I still remember the 70 dirhams, okay? And then this guy comes and tells me, in 1 hour, you're getting 3,000. And that back then, everything was really booming, right? So I'm like, yeah, I'll take it, whatever. I don't know what it's about, but I'm just gonna take the job. And I took it. So this is how my emceeing journey started.
Did you know what the job is?
No. I knew I'm going to hold a mic, be on the stage. I had no clue what I'm going to be doing.
Was it your first time to be on a stage and hold the mic?
It was my first time ever to be on the stage.
And you were brave enough to just go like, fine.
No, I was brave, but the fear, and I was so scared. And I still remember how I felt on the stage. It was one of the scariest moments of my life. Alwaleed, I held the mic and I still remember my hand was doing like this, shivering, and my feet and my legs were like literally dancing. You know how the dancers are? Yeah. And I'm trying to act all normal. I was blushing, flushing, all kinds of feelings came along. And it was literally like 10 mothers maybe with their children. In a very small mall, you know, like no judgment. I don't think they would judge me. But this whole fear of being on the stage and there was a cameraman and I'm like, okay, but being scared and all this shivering and all this feeling very vulnerable, but yet, by the way, being brave has nothing to do with the fear. Like you're scared, but you still make it, right?
Yeah.
So this was my first step into emceeing. It was a coincidence.
I like what you said because I read somewhere that they say courage is not the absence of fear, it's feeling the fear but going ahead anyway.
And this is 100% in everything in life. When you just start doing it, as soon as you get out of your comfort zone, right, there's fear. Anything that you do is, even going and meeting new people, there could be this kind of a little bit of fear, you know, like what are they gonna do? Are they gonna judge me? Whatever the consequences are for doing anything in life, you have the fear. This is how the human brain is made.
But you must have had some serious courage to do that because you know that statistically speaking in public is ranked the number one fear for both men and women, and then it's and the number 2 fear for men is death.
Okay.
So people would rather die than speak in public.
Yeah.
So just accepting this job is very brave.
I also loved it. So basically, it's. I was like, oh wow, this is a huge opportunity. I love being on the stage. I love kids. And back in Lebanon, like whenever we used to have big gatherings and with families, I would bring all the kids and I'll make them a show. So it was within me. When I'm studying, I put teddy bears and I start teaching them. So it's always been something that I would love to do. And I grabbed the opportunity. I didn't say no because of my fear.
Okay, so this is how you started. My question to you is, what's the one thing you wish you had known when you first began your career as an MC?
What is one thing I wished I had? Honestly, there's many things I wished I have known, but back then there was a lot of things I wasn't aware of. Like I wouldn't know how to handle a client. I wouldn't know. It's important to study the whole concept of the brand before you go and meet the client or be on the stage. So back then, if I understood, like before meeting any client or a job, I understand the background and ask the right questions, I would have performed much better. Because back then I would, oh my God, this one for sure. It just reminded me now. In the beginning of my career, in the emceeing career, I used to do lots of events in the malls. All right. I used to shout on the mic. And I think all the shops hated me. I'll be like, hello everyone, but not like that, like much. Like I would be screaming, thinking that the mic is not the powerful thing, it's my voice.
Yeah.
And all the shops used to complain to the management, like this girl, just shut her off. She's annoying, she's disturbing our clients. So every time I recall this incident, like, I just wish if I knew how to use my voice in the right way. But it wasn't like training, I just did it along the way.
Yeah, you learned by doing, which I think is the best way to learn sometimes. So the first event was that mall event, with the mothers, and then you felt. How did you feel after you were done and you went off the stage?
I felt empowered, yet the shivering stayed with me for at least maybe 20 minutes. It wasn't something that was gone after I left the stage. But then the client was very happy with my work. And he was like, okay, we have, I think it was a festival or something. And he mentioned to me that we will be having other events in different malls. You remember Hamar Ain Mall? Yeah. So Hamar Ain Mall. There was also not Wafi, the other one. It's in Burjuman.
Yeah.
So all the
back in the day.
Yeah. There wasn't Emirates Mall, Dubai Mall, all these big malls. These were the ones that we knew about, City Center. So these are the ones that I did events in, and every single time I do an event, I get much better at. And it was very natural for me. Because I love people. In my nature, I love people. And that helped me a lot being on the stage.
And I feel that's what makes MCs successful, loving people. But I could also tell that at a very young age, you wanted to help. So you had that giving nature to you. And I feel like this is very successful. MCs who are successful are that they want to entertain the crowd. They want people to be happy.
Very true.
They want them to enjoy their time. So
very true.
I think that
actually, just by you mentioning that, there's two kinds of MCs. The one who is like, look at me, I am beautiful, I am handsome, I am the master of ceremony. And there's another kind who is like, I am here to serve you. I am here to entertain you or to provide you with information. And all the ones who are presenting, not like the MC, the ones who are like the management to be on the stage or the entertainers, they are the story. So I am here to facilitate for them. And people can sense your humbleness when you're on the stage. So this is very important to differentiate between these two things.
One of the people I talked to told me great MCs are both grand and humble. So you have to be humble, or you know how they call servant leadership nowadays. It's the trend, being a servant leader. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so you're serving your team. It's the same. You're serving the speakers, the acts, the shows, but at the same time, you're still grand in a way. I mean, you're both. You're the perfect balance between being the MC, but you're also there to make others shine, which makes you even better.
Exactly.
You're the guy who makes everyone look great.
Exactly.
Or the girl who makes everyone look great.
Yes.
So how did you start getting more events then? after this first one through the same client who invited you to do other events?
No. So basically, this was my beginning where I was just doing events for this client. But then I realized that, okay, so prior being like the emceeing thing, I used to do promotion on the side. When I left Red Bull, it took me a while to find a job. So I did promotion work. So to be able to be a promoter or a hostess, you have to go through an agency.
Yes.
Right? So the same agencies, I approached them. I'm like, okay, so I can present events for you. Can I provide you with my portfolio as a presenter? And I started off with one agency. So they started getting me a job as a presenter, and I started spreading the word. Like other agencies would know me through an event, then they would approach me. This was the way back then. There was no social media. So it's a word of mouth and you introducing yourself to the agencies.
What was your second event?
The second event, I think it was Panasonic and Jitex.
Okay, so how did you were you still afraid? Like, did you still have these nerves?
Oh, yes.
But you actually actively went to look for that event?
Yes.
Okay.
So at the beginning, it was by chance. It was a coincidence where this guy approached me and he didn't even know that I would love to be an MC. But afterwards, I'm like, okay, this is definitely, this is good money. So why not have a part-time, not as a promoter, or actually have both, like being a promoter and a presenter. But I still remember, and at Jitex, Panasonic event, I remember they gave me a script and I wasn't prepared for it and I wasn't ready. I didn't know how to present back then. We're talking about I was like 19, this age. And I remember going on the stage and going black out, like I don't even see the script. I started crying on the stage.
No way. That actually happened?
Yeah. Oh my, you make me remember the worst moments of my life. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. Because that's very interesting. You actually cried in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And did people see that, or what did you
No,
manage
I
to
think
there's something in my eyes, guys. The lighting is too strong. Yeah.
Okay, these memories are like flashback. It hurts. So basically, I went down the stage. I don't think they noticed. I think only the management did. Thank God it was the morning time. So, Jitex in the morning is not very busy. Like just the first show, like 10 o'clock.
Everyone's at work still.
Yeah. They're just coming by. So he goes like, and they didn't have any other MC, so they have to deal with me. They're like, what do you want? Water, chocolate? How can we help you?
Oh,
you
that's very nice.
Good. They didn't have an option.
Oh,
I think they were nice, but I don't think there was an option to get an MC on the spot, and they needed the show to go on. So after that, I was able to go back to the stage and act normal, and eventually I got better every single day. But I think back then Panasonic regret having me as an MC.
Did they never hire you again?
Yeah, I don't think they did. Yeah. I don't remember had Panasonic again in my resume. Yeah, I don't think you see it in my portfolio either, right?
Yeah, no, it's not there. Yeah. But I mean, and then on the next couple of days you were better. Obviously getting married and
better.
But when did you get over the stage nerves? At what point? What event where you're like, okay, this is natural. I'm just gonna go up on the stage and start talking.
You want the honest answer or the fake answer?
The honest answer, please.
Never. I never did. The fear of the stage has always been with me, and nobody believes it because there's no way, man, you have fear. And every time I have an event, I take it as serious as if it was my first event. So, and this gives me the feeling of being humble and take the job very seriously and don't take things for granted. So I'm not going to say the fear is as in shivering and being scared, and not that. No, it's a controlled kind of fear where you have it inside you and it has a rush of adrenaline. And this adrenaline makes me do a much better job than I would if I didn't have this kind of fear.
I mean, a little bit of fear is always healthy because it ensures you always do your best.
Yeah.
It's that kind of fear. But I mean, you're not as afraid as you were in the...
No, but that also took time with practice. It's practice. You're doing an event after an event after an event and then getting all these compliments from people. So it helps when you get feedback.
Okay, but my question to you is, how were you still actively seeking MC jobs while being afraid of it? So it's like both, you're not afraid, but I mean, you're still having to deal with the nerves. So you actually kept going after something that kept making you, you did not just give up. You're like, no, khalas, I'm done with Panasonic. I don't want to repeat this embarrassing situation again. How did you get that grit to just keep pushing through until getting better and better at it?
You know, Alwaleed, I understood this part only a couple of months ago. I didn't know why I was doing this and what was it in me. I was reading or actually listening to a podcast for Brené Brown. She talks about vulnerability. And she mentioned that this is the paradox of life. You are brave, but you are scared. You have this fear, but you still go towards your dreams. So regardless of my fear and scared of being a failure, I still kept going. And this is how I came to Dubai in the first place. I worked in Red Bull, then receptionist, and I took this job. I always take chances. And I also have another failure, a huge failure that I did with a big company. Maybe I shouldn't mention the name, otherwise they won't hire me again. That's also back in the day. So in the beginning, I was failing because I didn't have the awareness of how to get things done. Even YouTube wasn't famous back then, by the way. So there was no tips of how to approach things. But I always felt I need to keep going to get better. And it was a natural kind of, it was a natural thing in me. It wasn't something that I planned forward or, yes, I am brave, let me do this. It was something realizing that, okay, you know what, this is a great income. I can even support myself and my family better. And I'm going to keep going.
Yeah. That's the drive that I think makes. So that other big failure with the anonymous company, what was it and what did you learn from it?
Let's talk about my success stories. What do you think of that? I'm just joking. No, it's fine.
That's the next question, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one was a disaster. Should I mention the name or no?
I think keep them anonymous.
It's
up
better.
to you.
It was a big, like well-known car company, not Porsche, not the Porsche.
Not Porsche,
no.
yeah.
Like
Because
another,
I love Porsche. I would have been really heartbroken.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you. No, I won't tell you. Okay, so I won't say. So basically, this company, it was an opening. They were opening their showroom in Oman, and they hired me as a presenter. And the guy who was writing the script for me is like, he gave it to me the last minute. At the stage, I couldn't see the script. The lighting was very strong, and they have invited the sheikh, they invited VIPs, invited everybody for the opening of this showroom. I could not see the script.
Yeah.
And I got so scared, and then somebody had to take over.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this was the biggest embarrassment of my life.
And what was the lesson learned?
Lesson learned here, it was realizing that you need to speak up. You need to speak up to these things, you know? Even when you're starting at an MC job or MC at the beginning of being presenter or public speaker, you need to speak up things that are not working well. Like say, okay, you know what, guys? You're giving me the script
last minute,
and that's okay for me now. I mean, now I can create a script while I'm going on the stage.
Yeah.
But that's all with experience and practice. But when you're in the beginning of your journey, you need to be fully prepared and ask as much questions as possible and do a rehearsal on the stage with the right lighting. So rehearsal, preparing, asking questions, not being scared of the client's reaction when you say, no, this is not okay. We need to do it that way. Otherwise, the event will fail. You know, you need to speak up. It's very important. But again, as a 19 years old girl, I mean, I didn't know how to handle these situations back then.
I don't think at this age, I think most people wouldn't know what to ask for or how to set boundaries or ask for be assertive. Ask them, you know, I need the script in advance. I need to know who's coming. I need the agenda. Some of the events, they don't even give you the agenda.
Exactly. And sometimes the client, they don't know what they're doing. It's not their job. They just don't know. Exactly.
It's not their job.
So the MC's job here is to guide the client.
Yes, especially when it comes to technical things that only the MC would know. I mean, the client just wants the event to be successful.
Exactly.
So
it's the MC's job to ask these questions, to support and to give them guidelines and guidance and at the event. But of course, it depends on how much the client is giving you the opportunity to do that. You can't just go ahead and like, you know what, do this, do that. Many clients know what they're doing, but if they ask for their opinion, voice it out.
Yeah, I agree. So I think, what advice would you give to someone wanting to pursue a career in emceeing?
So basically you have different kind of emceeing. So sometimes you could be passionate about a specific topic. Start with that first. So let's say if you are into technology or fashion or
sports or cars.
So whatever is something that you're very passionate about, start with that first because it will give you a drive. You're excited to talk about it. You would love to learn more information. So this will be a good push for you to have the confidence. Second, join these clubs, for example, Toastmasters. Join clubs that you would be able to train yourself. If you can't, then try to do some like mini groups of friends and host for them. Do the training continuously so you can get better at it and take the chance. So even if it means in the beginning doing an event, which you were talking about earlier, not to do it, even if it means do charity events or CSR events free of charge, this is a great opportunity to be on the stage and see if this is what you love or not.
But you know what, May? Even if you do offer MC services for free for like charity or non-profit organizations, they still want to see your show reel. And if you have never done it before, it's very hard to get on the stage for the first time.
Yeah. Well, this is what I'm trying to say is that when you have companies that would take it, especially in the beginning when it's like children's show or things that are not very critical. You don't have cameras on or VIPs or
smaller
huge launch.
events.
Smaller events. Start with the small events. And also, as I told you, like being in Toastmasters or doing CSR initiatives or doing charity organization initiatives, that you can create videos out of these events. Many of just like myself, I was a hostess. And I shifted from being a hostess to
an MC.
To MC.
Like existing in the event ecosystem.
Exactly. Existing, talking to people, networking, joining networking groups, trying to promote your service, maybe opening a YouTube channel and talk about your passion so people can see you and start approaching you, getting your name into the agencies with your portfolio and your background. You got to take the first step. And sometimes when you give a budget that is very minimal, clients could possibly hire you or agencies.
Okay, so do you believe great MCs are born or made? Like, can anyone be an MC or you are born to be an MC?
Okay, I always believed for a very long time you are born to be an MC. I did not think that you can become an MC. It has to be something within you. Because you know how they say some people have presence and some people don't have presence? I still do believe that do exist. Like some people, they just show up in any event or in any gathering, like, oh wow, they have this vibe, they have this thing that you can sense that they actually exist. And some people pass by and they would maybe talk forever, but you forget about them. You don't even see them. So I always felt you are born to be an MC. However, I believe now with the training, with the guidance, with your passion, with all the practice, you can be made, and you can be even better than the one who are born because you would even put more effort to make it happen.
And they always say that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard.
I 100% agree with this saying.
Yeah. But I feel like you said passion. Passion is very important because I don't think it's something anyone would do who's not passionate about it. Why would you do it? Like what would make you go up on the stage? Okay, so what are the best resources that have helped you along your career? Whether it's books, audiobooks, people, movies, quotes, things that have helped you along your career as an MC.
Honestly, what would have helped me being an MC is not books or audios. I did watch lots of TED Talks. I did that, but it was mainly a lot of practice, one. Most of the companies that I worked for example, Dubai Holding, Dubai Media City, Dubai Properties, Huawei, they used to always utilize me as a presenter at the event free of charge because they know I had this background. So the practice helped me a lot. Practicing, I think, is the right thing for emceeing. The more you do it, the more you get better at it. Also, another thing is that my background is in the events industry. So I was heading the events in different organizations. And because of that, I would understand what's happening behind the scenes. So for the MC, you need to know like what happens behind the scenes, what are the pressure points, what are the things that could happen out of nowhere and could actually ruin your the event or the way you're presenting. Sometimes electricity could cut off. It happened before on the mic. How do you handle it? So all these surprises, you learn how events work, and that would help you to get much better at being as an MC.
Because you can anticipate all the problems that could happen, and you kind of know what to do in every situation.
And even if you don't anticipate, you know that something is going to happen.
Yeah.
Something will happen.
Definitely.
There's not even one event that I went through or I did that it was 100% perfect. So this is something that... I had an event for the president of a country. They gave me the script half an hour before the event.
Yeah.
But that was experience. I was able to do a great job, and people thought I was from that country.
That's amazing.
Exactly, but that's again experience. Experience. I will practice experience. This is what.
But for
What
new
worked.
MCs starting out, they might not have the opportunities to practice. But I like what you said about joining public speaking clubs like the Toastmasters Club. It's kind of similar to emceeing, maybe not exactly the same, but at least it gives them everything they need to do as a public speaker. Because public speaking and emceeing are two different arts. Some people think they're the same thing. What do you think?
They're not the same thing, but then when you combine them, it gets much better. In the sense of like, of course, you have to have this emotional intelligence to know when to do the public speaking while you are emceeing. Emceeing is basically like connecting the dots and making sure things are going smoothly. If the presenter is going out of his time or way, then you support and tell, okay, it's time for 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. You need to move to the next presenter. So it's all about liaising and assuring the event is going smoothly. Sometimes an MC is an entertainer, right? So the event is 100% depending on the MC. And this is where you use the tweak of the public speaking. You use these elements. Sometimes an MC is a moderator, and you can also combine these two things. How can you behave like an MC and then change your mindset and your behavior and become a moderator? So MC, if you have the elements under the MC as a public speaker, as a moderator, as a good speaker, this will help a lot with the emceeing and will take you to the next level, because eventually maybe you don't want to be an MC for the rest of your life. You want to shift to public speaking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I believe it's very much connected, but an MC needs to be careful with what the clients want. And you have to kind of stick to these kind of things, because if you act like a public speaker while talking as an MC, while being an MC, the client won't be happy. The client will tell you, okay, do your job as an MC. Why are you?
Or the people, or the public speakers, because there are public speakers at the event for a reason.
Why are you taking the job? Why are you taking the sun? Don't take the light from the rest of the speakers. Again, depending on the client's requirements. Always go back to what does your client want, and give them their requirement and live the brand.
Okay. What is the best way to prepare for an event or before an event? What should an MC do?
Okay, so preparation for an event. First of all, you meet with the client, and before you meet with the client, if you can understand their background, read about the website, check online for events that they've done before. So try your best to understand the background of the client and their brands, understand the brand. Then you meet the client usually. I mean, it depends on the requirements, but you meet the client. Make sure you go to the client as if you are going on stage. I'm not saying dress up like a gala, or it depends on the event, but go with the same perception. Like, I wouldn't go to a client who is a government sector with my curly hair. I change my style. I have my hair straight. I go with the vibe of what the clients need. When I meet there, I understand everything. I understand the inquiry, and I ask questions. And sometimes the clients say, oh, thank you for asking this question. Oh, that makes sense. But again, back to experience. You need to really be prepared to ask the right questions. So when you get the script from the client or write the script, you get the approval on the script. And it's important to practice. I mean, I don't practice as much, but again, based on the 17 years. But practicing always makes things much, much, much better. That's one. Always drink water before your event. Not lots of water, so you don't have lots of trips to the bathroom.
Because sometimes you don't get any time to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So just like sip water, have vitamin C to keep your energy up, and dress up with the occasion. Make sure that you dress up for the occasion. Be prepared. Have the cards. Have a backup plan. Have two set of cards or two set of iPads, just to be on the safe side. Yeah. And remember, on the spot, on the stage, clients could change the last minute. They will change wording, content. Be ready for that.
Yeah.
Don't like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? I lost focus. This happens many times, and then MCs go on stage and they are completely lost with their document. And that used to happen to me also. So be prepared that this is live and this will change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever declined an event or refused to do an event?
Yeah, I did.
And what were your reasons?
My reasons were at the beginning I wouldn't refuse anything as I don't know, but afterwards I would refuse if it doesn't go with my brand. And I'm not saying like I am something or somebody who's very important, but let's say I have like international clients now. I've been to Germany, Singapore, Turkey, and other Middle East countries, and I do like high caliber kind of events for corporates, etc. So when they ask me for events that are completely different than my
Personal brand.
caliber or I don't do it anymore. I don't refuse. And I don't know, I reject your event because it's not up to my caliber. No, it's not like that. But I offer the right people. I provide the MC that I feel would fit the ceremony or the this is how I do it.
So it's about personal branding.
Personal branding, yes.
Okay. So if you were to step in my shoes now, what question would you ask yourself that I haven't asked you?
Oh, that you asked me, you covered all questions. I didn't even think you would cover these questions. So you covered many things. Let me see, let me check. What would it be? Maybe I would ask if you go back to when you first started, do you feel you could have done something better to be in a better position now?
And would you?
Yeah. There would be.
What would you change?
I would change the fact that when I was so scared to leave the corporate world and follow my dreams, I stayed in the corporate world for a very long time for security purposes. And I regret that. If I have started earlier, I would have been in a much like even better position right now.
But did the corporate world prevent you from emceeing or?
It was very hard. I mean, I would have to reject events because I would have a full-time job, and I have to give the priority to your full-time job, right?
Of
and
course.
When I used to go for my emceeing, I would be stressed, worried because I have other things that I have to work.
Couldn't you like take the day off or?
I used to take the day off, but again, I mean, I have a family, I have 2 kids, I have this, so it was a lot of pressure. So focusing, I mean, I'm not saying leave the corporate world if you can do both at the same time, but I had other responsibilities. And I really, truly feel if I have focused on presenting and public speaking earlier, it would have been better. But there's always a chance to...
Yeah, it's never too late.
No, it's never too late. But if you ask me this is something that I would say like, yes, it should have been a little bit earlier.
You know, I wanted to start another podcast and call it Quit Your Job. So many people, entrepreneurs and people I talk to have told me the craziest stories of how they quit their jobs and started doing something that made them 10 to 100 to 1,000 times more successful. So yeah, that's very interesting that you said something like that. I think a lot of listeners would want to hear about that. You just be brave enough to follow your dreams and don't box yourself into a job if you have an alternative way to make money.
100%. On top of that, I was just listening to a podcast today for Oprah and Brené Brown. Sorry, this is like my 2 idols. And they were talking about how to follow your heart. I think this was I forgot the exact name. But it tells you that always find a way to cultivate your energy, your passion, and do it. If you have a job that you love, that's perfect. But if not, try, other than your job, do something you love. Be it art, be it any job, sport, anything that you love. And the reason behind it, it tells you when you suppress creativity, it hits you with rage, anger, frustration, depression. So you need to find a way to do what you're passionate about. Even if it's in the meantime, it's not yet your time to quit your job if you can't afford to.
Yeah. You know what they say? Don't work so that you can be able to do something that you love. Do something that you love so you'd be able to make money out of it.
It's very true for me, but for many people, it's not the case. So we don't want to tell people that, you know what, quit your job and do your thing, especially with these hard times. But definitely do something on the side at least and grow it gradually. I mean, you know, it's just sometimes people quit their job. I'm going to follow my dream. Where's your plan?
Okay.
Have a plan.
Have some, or at least figure out something that could potentially be income generating. I want to say that one more time to the camera. Don't make money so you could do something that you love. Do something that you love so you can make money.
A nice one, Alwaleed. Nice one.
And now the last question of the show, which is a signature question, and it's a deep question, kind of. What is emceeing to you? Or what does emceeing mean to you? May, what does emceeing mean to you?
Emceeing means to me, it's living a brand. Emceeing is enjoying being on the stage by providing the best energy you could. Emceeing for me is seeing people smiling and happy. Emceeing is leaving the stage with a memorable, with something memorable to the audience, to yourself, and to the client. Emceeing is my world. Emceeing for me is what makes me truly happy.
Thank you very much. Where can our listeners connect with you online?
So I am on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. I'm gonna be on YouTube very soon. It's about time, right? I can't stay away from online world. But I'm mainly active on Instagram at May Sayed Ali.
May Sayed Ali, thank you very much for being on the show today. It was a pleasure having you on MC Cast. Thank you very much for coming.
Alwaleed, you gave me such a beautiful opportunity. I didn't know where this was going, but I really enjoyed it. And it kind of reminded me of so many memories that I have suppressed for a long time, like the clients I did bad with. And you also reminded me of my journey. So thank you so much for such a beautiful opportunity.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.